Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the San Ramon Mayor and Council Candidates Forum. Our program will be split tonight with the candidates for mayor speaking first over the next hour, and the two City Council District 1 candidates following at approximately 7:15. At the dais, we have the 2024 mayoral candidates Mark Armstrong and Chirag Kathrani. Hello, I'm Gina Channell Wilcox, for those of you who don't know me. I'm the president of Embarcadero Media Foundation's East Bay Division and publisher of the DanvilleSanRamon.com, the Pleasanton Weekly, and Livermore Vine. My co-moderator is Jeremy Walsh, our editorial director. Our staff reporter, Janita Lyman, is covering the mayoral forum, and our freelancer, Chuck Deckert, will be here taking photos. Thank you to the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for partnering on the logistics, and to members of AAUW for your help. Finally, thank you to the candidates for mayor for joining us this evening. We will start with 2-minute opening statements from each candidate. Then each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to questions. Our timekeepers will signal when you have 30 seconds remaining with the yellow card and when to stop. In the interest of time and allowing as many questions to be posed as possible, we will ask the candidates to save any rebuttals for their closing statements. We have some prepared questions and some questions that were emailed to us from readers, and I've already received a couple here tonight. We will be collecting additional questions from the audience. If you have a question, there are index cards and pens or pencils that you can pick up or flag down one of our volunteers, Heidi, to bring you a card and a pencil, and they will pick it up when you wave the card and bring it up to us. We will consolidate questions on the same subject and ask as many questions as time allows, but please understand that we will not be able to ask every question. At the end, each candidate will have 3 minutes for closing statements. Out of respect for the candidates and others, let's agree that all audience members be polite, attentive, and as quiet as possible. Please silence your cell phones if you haven't already. And we are going to start in alphabetical order with candidate Armstrong giving his opening statement first, and then we will alternate who speaks first during the questioning portion of the program. Candidate Armstrong.
Okay, thank you, Gina. Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and all the partners here for setting up this evening's event. Thank you to the audience and all those who are watching for coming this evening and learning a little bit about us. I'd like to start out by just talking a little bit and introducing who I am. I'm a Bay Area native. I grew up in Palo Alto. I went to West Point. I served 30 years in the U.S. Army, retired as an Army colonel, and during that time served in a variety of command and staff assignments in the United States and overseas. I served 12 years in the field of emergency management, to include as a senior leader for FEMA, doing disaster work, supporting governors and of tribes and territories and states, serving as a presidentially appointed federal coordinating officer. I've lived in San Ramon for 20 years, and I raised my family here with my wife, Brenda. All 4 kids are graduates of Cal High, and for the last 4 years, I've served on the San Ramon City Council. Last year, I was your vice mayor, and also had a chance to serve as the acting mayor when Mayor Hudson fell ill. And during my time on City Council, I've listened to you, the residents of San Ramon. I've gotten to understand what you love about our city, about the quality of life that you enjoy. I've got to learn about some of the concerns that you have, and I believe I'm the right person at the right time to help you to maintain that quality of life for you and your family, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Candidate Kathrani.
Hi, this is Chirag Kathrani. Is it audible? Yeah. So I'm a candidate for mayor right now. So while everybody says it's an opportunity, I would say getting this opportunity itself is wrong at the first place. if the mayor race was running unopposed, there is some fundamental problem in our city council. And when other two city council member endorses the mayor candidate who hasn't completed his term, the 4 years term that he signed up for a council, they are only running for extra power. Whereas I'll bring a new voice to the mayor race, to the city of San Ramon Council. There are other issues that I thought needed to highlight, so I'll focus my introduction more on the issues rather than what my background is, and the solution that I will provide is in my closing statement. The other issue that I saw was Measure N is on the ballot, and when I released a video, like a script, small 30-second video a week ago, and like I think 10,000 residents have already seen it, in which there's a Measure N is being debated, 1% sales tax increase is being debated. A person shows up and he says, like, last year I collected all the receipts and had $3,100 of sales tax I paid. With 1% increase, he'll pay $31. And it's $358 to be precise. But not a single council member, the silence of the council speaks for itself. The other issue that I thought is very important is community engagement. When anybody speaks up in city council meeting, anybody who has been on the city council meeting, I've been there multiple times. I've learned one thing is like whenever you come and speak in the public comment, you will never be got back. Only thing you'll listen is, this is not an agenda item, over and over until you stop coming. So that's another area which I thought is very important, and this is how the community is disengaged and fundamentally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's time. Let's jump right in with our first question, starting with Chirag Kathrani, and we'll continue with Measure N, in many ways the big ticket item on San Ramon ballots. Do you support or oppose the 1 cent sales tax increase, and what do you think will realistically happen for the city's budget and service levels if Measure N passes, and on the flip side, if it fails?
So first of all, I'll start with the 1 cent sales tax increase. The writing itself as 1 cent is misleading, and that's where I said like council hasn't done its job by making it clear to the resident. It's going from 8.75 to 9.75, which is base tax is going up by 11.4%. Well, I oppose it because it's misleading. Well, there's another issue is if it fails, we'll have some deficit challenges, and we probably need to tighten our belts. I think we can increase the developer fees where we can cover the expenses. There are other expenses which I saw are extremely high in the city council. If we can fix those expenses, we can still be in a balanced budget. If you see from 2020 to 2024, 2023, the inflation is 17%, but the city expenses have gone up by 31%. So there is an area where could be a significant improvement. And if it fails, we'll have to ask cuts from different departments to make sure that we adjust, tighten our belts.
Thank you. Mark Armstrong.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely, I support Measure N. I was on the city council when we unanimously made the decision to put it on the November ballot. There was a good reason for that. We had been going through all of our budget workshops, our budget meetings. We had been working to do, as we do every year, to balance our budget, but we've got a structural deficit. We've got a situation where our revenues have been relatively flat, and our expenditures have been increasing, just like for all of you, have been hitting you in your pocketbook with additional insurance expenses, utility expenses, everything that you do for maintenance and fuel and things like that. It's affecting the city in the same way. You know, we surveyed residents and did this over the last 2 years, last year, this year, and residents were very clear that of what was important to them. Good roads, good parks, a safe city, a strong police force, and the residents don't want drastic cuts. They like what we've got in the city of San Ramon. They like our quality of life, and without Measure N passing, that should lead to about a $16 million addition to our revenues to help make up for that $17.6 million deficit that we had to make up when balancing the budget. But if we don't get that revenue money, then the impact is we're going to have to make some even more drastic cuts. That's not what you want, but you're going to have the opportunity as voters to weigh in on November 5th. If that's important to you, then I certainly hope that you'll support it. I support it as a council member, and I strongly support it as a candidate and a resident of San Ramon.
Thank you. Next question, back to Mark Armstrong first. Residents continue to be focused on public safety in San Ramon for good reason. Where does public safety sit in your list of campaign priorities, and how do you propose to improve public safety in the city? Please be specific.
Well, public safety is always a high priority. It's a top priority. It's the most important thing we can do as a local government, of any government. And we have a great police force. We have a police force that's very responsive. They engage well with our residents. And I believe that our police force should be well-trained, well-funded, fully funded, well-equipped, and have all the resources they need to do their job. We were fortunate last year to get a $5.6 million organized retail theft prevention grant that's gone a long way to bring in additional officers into the police force. We've got some additional technology, vehicles, license plate readers, drone technology, and things that are going to help catch the criminals and keep our citizens safe. It's definitely on the mind of our residents, but we also have a situation where you see things in social media, and a lot of times you think that's happening in your neighborhood. If it is happening to you and your neighbors, it's a real thing. And I know crime is happening in the city of San Ramon. I get a weekly report from the police chief, but that doesn't mean we can't do some more about it. And with a strong and fully resourced police force, we'll continue to make San Ramon a safe place, which it is now. Even our crime statistics for the most violent crimes, the most serious crimes, have remained consistent over about the last 10 years. And we can continue to make things even better and a safer city in the city of San Ramon.
Thank you. Chirag Kathrani.
Public safety is a very important topic, and one thing is, if you don't feel safe, the place is pretty much useless. So I highly prioritize public safety, and if you see on Nextdoor, which I'm not sure how many people are on Nextdoor, but I always see there's an encampment happening in Dorothy. There are issues in San Ramon, not outside San Ramon, which is where I think we need to engage the residents more. As such, we have the cameras that neighborhood crime watch needs to be introduced properly. There's something called as citizen policing as well. We need to introduce those ideas inside the community, because if the people in community feel safe, then only they will be more happy in the city as such. So I don't recommend cutting any budget on police safety as such, public safety and police. Mental health is another area where police has an issue, where police won't be the best resource to be called at the very first place. So I think in San Ramon, as far as I know, in San Ramon, the fire department is typically pushed when there's a mental illness, mental health issue. And I have a special need kid, so I know this really well, how to deal with a mental health issue. And I think our police will also has a good knowledge of it. So we'll prioritize that as well.
Thank you. We're going back to candidate Kathrani for the next question. Shifting to the most significant project in San Ramon right now, and maybe into the next decade and beyond, the transformation of Bishop Ranch. What is your view about the redevelopment of Bishop Ranch from primarily office buildings into a residential, commercial, corporate, and community gathering hub? And in your estimation, how well is the city government handling the public review process for the individual projects, as well as the oversight of the collective city walk master plan implementation?
Well, if you look at the City Walk master plan, there's a website for all the residents to look at. It's very interesting to look into that. City Walk master plan mostly consists of townhouses. And there is very few mixed house which is coming outside of City Walk project. So making townhouses, I think it's not a right place to have it in the core of the city, because the core of the city should be more as a condominiums and filled up with people around who can have a local. We don't have a downtown here in San Ramon. City center is dubbed as a downtown, but I don't think it's a downtown. We really need a downtown which is where people can hang around, much bigger place than city center. We had marketplace. The marketplace is no longer like in functioning because it's being reconstructed. There's some reconstruction coming up. I totally disagree with City Walk as an ideal project. I think it should be different.
Thank you. Candidate Armstrong?
Well, I wholeheartedly support our city's vision to build out Bishop Ranch and the city core area. We've got a lot of, as you mentioned, unused office space, empty parking lots, and we've got some significant mandated housing requirements that we need to meet. The state has passed hundreds of laws in the last few years that have basically done what they want to do, which is to increase housing production. Unfortunately, that's taken away a lot of the local control of local governments to be able to thoughtfully figure out where that goes, when and where it goes, what type of housing goes where. Putting housing in the city core area around Bishop Ranch will do one great thing. It'll help us to protect our neighborhoods. And that's really important. In talking to you as residents, you want to live in your neighborhood with a safe environment, great parks, good access to good schools, not a lot of traffic. And by focusing in the city core area, we're able to put that housing down there. And you can see around us already in the city of San Ramon, we have zone 4. We don't build, but we have zone 4. And the private market is building right now. You see it over on Camino Ramon, you see it on Alcosta, you see it over on Deerwood. We've got other projects approved across from City Center and across from the City Hall. And we've got a lot of affordable units as well that'll be a part of that. We've got a 15% affordable housing policy, and we've even got several projects that are 100% affordable that are coming up in the pipeline. So I think it's the right approach. I think it's a smart approach, and it'll help protect our neighborhoods.
Thank you. We're going right back to candidate Armstrong, and we're going right back to housing. On housing projects elsewhere in the community, what will you do as mayor to ensure the city achieves its goals for housing throughout San Ramon? Is the City Council doing enough to support and encourage new housing options that are truly attainable for residents regardless of socioeconomic status?
Well, I think this question gets to the heart of our affordable housing issue. We don't have a housing crisis in San Ramon. The state may have a housing crisis. The Bay Area may have a housing crisis. We've got plenty of housing. The real challenge is our RENA numbers, our mandated allocation from the state is another 5,111 units over the next 8 years. And probably like you know, I'm asking, where's all that going to go? And we've thoughtfully, we've come up with a housing plan as a city on where all that housing is going to go. And now it's up to the private market to determine when is the right time and the right place to put that in accordance with our plans. The affordable housing piece of this, you know, we need more affordable housing for our teachers, our cops, our trades workers, you know, our firefighters, all the people that work and live in the city, and we don't have enough of that. However, as I said earlier, we've got an inclusionary housing policy. We're building affordable units. We're have several 100% affordable units that are currently planned over at Morgan's Masonry. They're looking to put 100% affordable units in there. Same thing over around the Bishop Ranch 8 area. Another 200 units of 100% affordable. And these are not big places like the 2,500, 3,000 square foot single family homes. These are 500, 700, 900 square foot places where the workforce can move into, and it'll be affordable for them and meet the needs of that workforce and our young families who are having a difficult time moving back to San Ramon and living here.
Thank you. Candidate Kathrani?
So I'll counter what Mark is saying. One of the thing is like all the new development he's talking about, the affordable housing are actually senior housing. They are not affordable housing for the 500, 600 and 900 square feet. These are the senior housing. I checked myself. I think we need to have workforce. Workforce cannot live in senior housing unless we have a senior workforce, which is a different issue. We need workforce housing where our teachers, and they don't live here right now in San Ramon. They are forced to live outside because it's very unaffordable to live in San Ramon. My dream San Ramon should be like around somebody with 60K should be able to live here happily. And this could only, if we have this, then only we can bring the businesses here. The offices are empty because San Ramon is not affordable for any kind of workers to be here as well. Most of the people who live in San Ramon commute up in Silicon Valley. And that's a fact which everybody knows. I think affordable housing, the way it needs to be, it needs to prioritize workforce. And city has also, like when Mark mentioned 15%, city has taken around an in lieu fees, where the affordable in lieu fees, so around from 15% it goes down to 10%. While we build all these townhomes, we should prioritize affordable 500, 600, 700 square feet homes. And if any developer is not willing to do that, we need to prioritize for the developer and not pass other larger projects if the affordable housing is not taken place.
Excuse me if we could ask everybody to refrain from any cheering, booing, or any sort of comments of noise of any kind. Just be respectful of everybody and the flow of the event. Next question, we will begin with Chirag Kathrani. Mm-hmm. California's business reputation took a major hit when Chevron announced this year that its corporate headquarters would be moving to Texas. But this international news acutely affects San Ramon too. What ideas do you have to promote economic development in the city, both in terms of filling the large void Chevron will leave and in terms of supporting small and medium-sized businesses here in San Ramon?
I've been to Chevron Park so many times for Christmas, and it's an amazing place to build a downtown here in San Ramon. I think it would be a great idea to have mixed business and homes, where we can have a downtown there. That's my wish. But I have been in the planning commission meeting, and since Bishop Ranch owns that land now, they are planning to build some golf course and until the homes are allocated, because right now they don't need to build homes because there's a city walk project already going on.
Anything else on economic development plans?
Yeah, so mixed development is something which I want it to be there. Mixed, where houses are on the top and there is commercial space downstairs. This will bring our fresh blood, and smaller housing would be most appropriate over there.
All right, thank you. Mark Armstrong.
I think our businesses, whether small or large or medium, they're going to want to set up and stay in San Ramon for a lot of the reasons that you came to San Ramon and that you want to stay in San Ramon, because we've got a good, safe city, because we've got good public services, because it's a business-friendly type community where we don't have over-regulation. If a business wants to do tenant improvement, we have low fees for those small businesses. But just like you love our city and want to stay here, businesses will come and set up when we can provide that kind of a safe and quality environment for not only their business, but their workers and for the shoppers who are going to visit those retail shops. As far as Chevron leaving, you know, that there was a proposal a couple years ago, not a proposal, but there was a concept a couple years ago. We're still going to wait to see what the new owner of that property does, that Sunset development. But the good news is that there may be additional retail that comes in there, maybe up to 125,000 square feet of additional retail, maybe a Santana Row-like retail with residential housing above it, maybe even additional 2,500 units, maybe a nice park and a place to walk and some open space in that area. So that's still to be determined what the future of that is, but we'll thoughtfully take a look at that and see if it's consistent with our vision and with our general plan and makes good sense.
Thank you. Next question back to Mark Armstrong. One of the council's important roles is providing direction to and even oversight of the city manager's office. How well run is the city in your view? What's your relationship like with city manager Steven Spadowski, and what must he and his staff prioritize for the next 2 years?
Can you state the first part of the question again? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it was just how well run is the city in your view?
Okay. Well, I frankly think the city is doing a great job. I think our staff is very professional. If you think about it, we've got 284 full-time employees. Compare that to a city that's even smaller than us, like the city of Livermore. They've got over 400 employees. Our city does a great job with the number of staff that we've got. They're working really hard. I used to use the analogy, it's like a duck swimming on upstream, and you've got the duck paddling really hard down below, but up on top, it's a beautiful looking duck moving forward. You know, that's our city. It's that beautiful duck, but the staff is really working hard to keep it that way. I think the city manager has done a good job in managing that staff. He's making some adjustments. He'll continue to make adjustments. He's been on the job about a year, but you can't do too much too fast. You need to make sure you keep a quality workforce. If you do too many changes too fast, you're liable to lose that good quality workforce. There's a lot of competition out there, and we want to keep our best people.
Thank you. Chirag Kathrani.
So I believe the city council is not doing their job right now. And the examples which I gave is like the 1 cent sales tax increase. It's basically 1% from 8.75. If our city council is transparent, they should not have passed that as the way it's written in the ballot. If you need more extra money, you should be very clear. The last 4 years, if you see, last 4 to 5 years, city is in deficit, and the current council, I would say, is responsible for it because it's their oversight. It's been for 4 years we are in deficit, not just last year. When I say structure, when everybody says structural deficit, I think it's structural incompetence of managing our books. We need to look our books much carefully. One example I saw is like there was a company which was paid around $312K for marketing the Measure N. And when I go to resident, I don't see, I went to 200 plus businesses. Only 2 businesses knew about 1% sales tax increases, and resident also hardly anybody knew. So my question is, where did this $312,000 go? And apart from that, the same company was awarded another $100,000 to continue the marketing for until April of 2025.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question, and candidate Kathrani, we're going back with you. Traffic congestion and safety continue to be front of mind for many residents. And then there are concerns about pavement quality and bike lanes in various parts of town. What are your top goals for street maintenance and road safety in San Ramon? How will you work to help residents and businesses address street concerns in their neighborhood, minor, moderate, or major?
So traffic, if you see the average traffic time over here from San Ramon in the Dorothy Valley, there's a lot of traffic congestion. It's going out of Dorothy Valley is not easy, even if you go from Bollinger or you go down the Dorothy Road. So traffic congestion is one issue which is very important, and one way to solve is we should be able to run some public transit and have businesses here in San Ramon. So for smaller shopping, they don't need to go to Dublin. Near the Dublin Dorothy Center, I would prefer to have some shopping area where Dorothy residents could be shopping around. And this will also generate the sales tax revenue we are losing to Dublin. And about the pavements, and most of the areas I see the pavement as much better, but I've heard from a lot of residents when I door knock around Crow Canyon that the pavements are not maintained very well. And bikeability and walkability is something which I highly prioritize. I wish to see San Ramon a very, very walkable and bikeable city. In fact, some areas at some point of time, the way we did in COVID times, should be completely blocked from having any vehicles, only the bicycle and resident walking. That's the kind of downtown I visualize.
Thank you. Candidate Armstrong?
Yeah, traffic is an issue I hear about often, and a lot of that is a result of our state-mandated housing requirements and putting in additional housing. The state's mandated that, yet that's irrespective of the ability of a city to be able to accommodate with the infrastructure, traffic, public services, and things like that. We have to figure that out. We've got to thoughtfully do that. Again, our focus, my focus for the city is to focus that new development in the city core area. There'll be shorter commutes for people. It'll be closer to the on and off ramps for 680. We'll have neighborhoods that will be within our walking district. It's part of our bicycle master plan in that area. It's close to the transit center, close to Iron Horse Trail and parks. Residents will be able to walk down to new retail. They'll be able to get to entertainment, to dining, and parks and different recreation activities. So I think that's going to go a long way to focus that traffic issue there, but also to keep the traffic out of our neighborhoods. Again, it's a big thing of mine is to protect our existing neighborhoods, and I want to keep the traffic out of our existing neighborhoods. We've got other things such as a new intelligent traffic system that'll have smart lights for traffic lights. We've got an award-winning on-ramp to 680. It's a continuous green on-ramp. And we've also got the new bridge at Iron Horse Trail and Bollinger Canyon overcrossing that's going to go a long way to reduce or eliminate 3 hours of stoplights at that intersection in the future.
Thank you. And back to candidate Armstrong. Public parks are a major draw and a point of pride for residents. Has the city done a good job maintaining and leveraging its parks for the benefit and enjoyment of the community? And what goals related to public parks and outdoor recreation would you have as mayor?
One of the things that our residents love, that you love about our city, is our parks. We have some beautiful parks. They've been well maintained. This is the place where your kids go out and play. This is the ball fields that they play sports on. We've got nearly 60 parks in the city of San Ramon, 4 dog parks. Now that's expensive to maintain, but our residents love it, and we're trying to maintain a good ratio of parks to the number of people, keep parks within about a half mile of any residence, and I think we've done a great job in keeping up with the maintenance of our parks. We have some financial challenges now, so there might be a reduction in some of the maintenance and some of the services on those parks, but the city staff is going to do the best they can to keep that transparent to everybody so you can continue to enjoy the parks that you love so much.
Thank you. Candidate Kathrani?
So I think the park over San Ramon are pretty good. it's very accessible, everybody enjoys it. We have maintained a very high quality park. There is no doubt about it. If we need to cut the services for any financial reason, what I would prioritize is not park, probably renovation of the park. We can hold it out for some time because since if we measure end doesn't pass, we'll be in a structural deficit as such. Until we come out of the structural deficit and structural changes, we need to have a structural changes in the city. But I love the Park Commission people and they are doing amazing good job.
Thank you. Next question, right back to Chirag Kathrani. A vital governmental relationship that always needs to be nurtured for the betterment of the whole community is that between the city and the school district. What ideas do you have that could be mutually beneficial for both agencies, and what would you do to promote more collaboration with SRV USD?
Well, all my kids go to SRV USD, and I'm very close to all the school teachers. If I have to make last meeting, I went to a school teacher and I told her you have job categories. Where is leadership in your curriculum? And she said okay, we'll add one leadership category. I said no, it's not a category. It's there inbuilt in complete system. Every category like police, fire, everywhere there is leadership. And leadership is something which we need to nurture. And this is one thing I want the San Ramon School District to focus on as leadership. But 2 weeks later, the teacher told me, look at the assignment. I have sent leadership lessons to your kid, basically. So when we talk, we really make a change. And I'll promote leadership within the community as such, from the school district itself. So I'm talking to a lot of these different school clubs, kids who are volunteering in my campaign. And I give them an example. Look at this. This is the city website. This is the content. You can fetch any information, pick any information, collect and research. This builds leadership within themselves.
Thank you. Mark Armstrong.
I think we've got a pretty good relationship now with the school district. That's one of the things that you love about our city as well. We've got great schools here. We want to keep up that relationship. I think the school district's done a fine job. You just saw a report today, maybe in the paper, that the San Ramon Valley Unified School District is one of the top performing school districts in the Bay Area. And I think they've done a good job in setting that up and keeping that. But our relationship goes beyond just talking with school board members or the new superintendent. We have a partnership with a joint use agreement with the school district where we partner for the use of our parks, the school parks, so that after school it's accessible to the public for sports teams, for different user groups, for people to go play and walk their dogs, walk around the parks and enjoy those parks. So I think we can keep that up. We also have a strong relationship in the kind of in the emergency management side of things. I'm part of a Citizen Corps Council Emergency Preparedness Policy Advisory Group. The school district is part of that, as well as the fire district and police and Danville town council representatives, as well as the county. And the school district and all of us talk about things that are important in terms of emergency preparedness and readiness in case there's an emergency at our school and how the schools might respond.
Thank you. Question number 10, right back to Mark Armstrong. And somebody here in the room wanted to hear more specificity around the budget without the 1% sales tax increase. I mean, we've heard here whether you're yes or no, and some thoughts on maybe why we got here, but brass tacks, what are you going to do? What are we going to do if Measure N does not pass? What cuts will you support, and which should be off the table totally, in your view?
Well, if we don't get Measure N, then yes, we're going to have to make some even more drastic cuts. You said you don't want that in the surveys, that we asked you what's important and you said it was parks, it was police, it was the different services and programs that we've got, it's our roads. If Measure N doesn't pass, then we're going to have to make some cuts in staffing levels. And of course, when you cut staffing, you're cutting service and programs as well, because you don't have the people to manage those different services. So it's important that we get Measure N pass. If it doesn't, that means harder and more significant cuts. We will also, at the same time, it's just like you. If you're facing a budget challenge with your personal finances, it's not just about cutting spending, but sometimes you got to look at, do I need to get another job? Do I need to increase my income? Well, the city's also going to continue to look for other ways that we can add some income. We looked at some of those options this year. The sales tax revenue measure was the most effective measure to make up the significant deficit that we had. But there are other options out there that we can look at as well for revenue, with transit occupancy tax, with business license fees. As I mentioned earlier, we increased user fees by and got another $1.5 million. We'll have to look at increasing revenue in other ways, not just spending cuts, but we're going to do everything we can to preserve the important programs for our youth, for our senior, for police protection, and parks, and the things that you love that make San Ramon such a great place to live.
Thank you. Chirag Kathrani.
So I would say, like, we won't need to cut so harsh as everybody seems to look like. I'll go back to 2020 budget and see where the spending is, and try to, because that was a balanced budget back then, and what are the expenses that those have been added, and could that be cut down? And I think there are significant areas. One area which I saw was like another area where they grouped multiple items into this. So if you see the budget summary basically changes over the period of time where the things are clubbed together. So it's very hard to go inside the budget as a resident. So I propose to keep the books very transparent of the books of the city between the resident and the everyone should be able to look into the books. It should be much easier if we put a good oversight in our own budget. I think we can easily manage the city with the same taxes and wouldn't have to raise the taxes, or probably need to increase some developer fees if I would focus on increasing the revenue. In the meantime, I'll build something in Dorothy Valley Station where we can capture some of the sales tax revenue which is flowing up in Dublin.
Thank you. And the next question, going back to candidate Kathrani. What will you do as mayor to make our city government more accessible and resident-friendly in general? What would you like to see done for seniors, people with disabilities, and youth in San Ramon?
So very first thing I'll do is like open the public comments on Zoom. I don't know why was it shut down actually. Because that way every resident can access the city council meeting remotely and comment as well. And I don't see any reason why did we stop it. Other thing is, whenever you go and bring anything on the city agenda, city council meeting, and you speak up, you're being told it's not an agenda item over and over until you stop showing up. So I'll change the way the whole city council works. Basically, if there is something, some resident is coming and speaking up, I'll make sure that the city council, somebody from the city department returns back to the person, send out an email, make sure that he's satisfied with what response he got from the city council. If he has further question, we'll escalate up to the city council level and bring it to the agenda item if it is not.
Thank you. And candidate Armstrong?
Yeah, I think in this area of engagement, council members, the mayor, need to be very accessible to the public as well. I take a lot of emails every week, and I answer emails, or I pass on to the city manager. They'll get a subject matter expert to answer emails. I publish my telephone. It's my personal phone. People call me with issues. I'm out in the community often, several times a week, engaging in different community events. As a mayor, I'll also look at re-implementing one of the programs we used to have in the past, something similar to a community engagement activity, like we used to have a mayor's breakfast and that sort of thing. We do a good job with the city of notifying people about meetings. If they sign up and subscribe to get those notifications, and that's something you can do, sign up and get those notifications. Your residents can get involved by joining committees. We have a lot of vacancies on our committees and our commissions and places where you can get involved. You can understand more about our city government and how it works. So taking Government 101 or our Planning Academy or our Community Academy. You can attend our city council meetings, and every council meeting, it's agendized. You have the opportunity to provide public comment on any agenda item. You also have the opportunity to provide a general comment on anything. We may be limited by state law on what we can respond to at that time, but normally someone from the staff will be able to get a hold of you and provide you an answer. But your input is very important. It's important to us. It helps inform our decision making. We have to listen to all sides of issues, and we can't make everybody happy, but we can let everybody have the opportunity to say what they want to say about a particular issue, whether they're for it or against it.
Thank you. And we've come to our final question for this forum. Mark Armstrong, if elected mayor of San Ramon, what's the most important strength you'd bring to the position for the next 2 years, and what is one weakness you'd need to be aware of and work through in office?
Well, I think in terms of strength, I bring experience. I bring, and I have time. I'm retired. I have the time to dedicate to reading all the materials to give a thoughtful consideration of all the issues that we've got. But my experience, my time serving in the Army, leading soldiers as a senior leader in some very elite units over time, my experience in working with governors and helping people in crisis situation when they're at their worst points in their life. I think those are things that I can bring to my position as the mayor, bring that leadership and bring that decision making. I can make decisions on short notice. I've had to make decisions with very little information. I've established priorities. I've given intent. I've given vision. I've set objectives. And these are the kinds of things that leaders need to do. And I've got that experience. I've got the time. And as far as weakness, I guess I'd say it's just making sure I understand what the concerns are of the community and having an openness to see blind spots that maybe, and people share with me areas where I may need some assistance in the future.
Thank you. Chirag Kathrani.
Can you repeat the question?
Chirag, if elected mayor of San Ramon, what's the most important strength you'd bring to the position for the next 2 years, and what is one weakness you'd need to be aware of and work through in office?
Well, I have done startups. That's one of my experience that I bring to the table. And when you do startup, you definitely look into every aspect. How we compete the big organization. When you're competing big organization, you think differently. And that's why I put a logo of a dog. The purpose was basically I am a like very friendly dog, very approachable. Come and talk to me. I'm open whenever you want. Like Mark, I publish my phone number all the places. So anybody can text me, talk to me. In fact, on my website, the first thing I put is like book an appointment, which will create a 10-minute Zoom appointment on my available time. I go through documentation very aggressively because I've run multiple businesses prior, and I still have a couple of businesses which I run, and they're running through my partners right now. So I'll keep a good focus on community engagement and community leadership. When I saw the race was running unopposed, I want 4 new leaders to compete in the next race. In fact, I have some people who are very interested in leading as well, running against in the next 2 years. They are helping me out in my campaigning as well. While community engagement is such an important point and leadership is an important point, which I will highly focus and bring all the voices in the table, whether people like it or don't like it. I'll make things uncomfortable for people because I'm listening to critics. This is what I've learned all my life.
Thank you. We will now move on to closing statements. Each candidate will have up to 3 minutes to provide final comments. Going in reverse alphabetical order this time, we will start with Chirag Kathrani.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. The plan which I believe is most important to bring the community engagement and safety, public safety is important too. When the community is engaged, the public safety automatically improves. Nextdoor has done a good job. When people post something, there are many people who will respond. But I don't see any people coming to the city council meeting. In fact, when I go to every house's door knock, I've known people who are very much aware of city's structural deficit, but they didn't know that a mayor race was going unopposed. So we are doing a very poor job in communication. This is what we need to improve. And the way we improve it is somebody comes to the city council meeting, and if they get things solved, they'll come back again and they'll talk about it. They'll encourage other people to go. But right now what is happening, like Mark said, he gets back. But I have been on city council meeting. I engaged the youth to come and talk in the city council meeting, only to get a response. It's not an agenda item, over and over until the youth that which I brought in, they were doing Fridays for Future outside the city of San Ramon for 25 weeks, sitting in the summer sun in year 2020. Not a single city council member or city staff ever showed up and offered them even a glass of water or came to talk to them to know their issues. So we have leadership within our community. We are not just encouraging it. When we encourage leadership, we'll bring entrepreneurship and we'll bring businesses which are locally grown inside our city of San Ramon. With affordable housing element, which I'll highly prioritize, we'll bring the fresh blood inside the city. Young people will build the city much better than, and it will be a thriving city.
Thank you. Mark Armstrong.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Gina. Thank you to the Chamber, and thank you to all of you who have come to listen to your candidates for mayor speak this evening. As I said before, I've talked with thousands of residents, thousands of you, and I've gotten to understand what you love about the city of San Ramon. You love the fact that we've got a safe city. You love your neighborhoods. You love the parks that are around your neighborhood, the sports fields that your kids play on. It's a very family-oriented city, and you want to keep it that way and continue to enjoy a great quality of life. But I've also heard your concerns, and some of those we've talked about tonight with traffic, with housing, and public safety. And I understand and share those concerns, but I also share your love for the city. And that's why I'm so passionate about protecting your existing neighborhoods. That's why I think it's really important that we focus that new development in the city core area and keep the impacts out of your neighborhood. I think it's important that we continue to maintain the quality of services and programs that you've come to expect and love and enjoy. I think I've got the leadership and the skills and the experience to see us through this next phase as we work through our financial issues, as we work through development in that city core area and realize that vision. And I think together we can keep San Ramon a great place to work, to live, to play, to raise a family, to run a business. And I certainly hope that you share those same expectations, and I would love to have your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you again to Mark Armstrong and Chirag Kathrani. We will now break and welcome the City Council District 1 candidates in approximately 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Welcome back for the second part of our forum, featuring the candidates for San Ramon Council District 1, Robert Juanet and Vasanth Shetty. This is the only contested city council race on the ballot. I'm Gina. I'm the president and publisher of Embarcadero Media's East Bay Division, and my co-moderator tonight is Jeremy Walsh, our editorial director. Our staff reporter, Janita Lyman, is covering this forum, and our freelancer, Chuck Deckert, is taking photos. Thank you to the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for partnering on the logistics of this forum. Finally, thank you to the City Council candidates for joining us this evening. We will start with 2-minute opening statements from each candidate. Then each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to questions. Our timekeeper will signal when you have 30 seconds remaining and when to stop. In the interest of time and allowing as many questions to be posed as possible, we will ask the candidates to save any rebuttals for their closing statements. We have some prepared questions and some questions that were emailed to us from readers. We will also be collecting additional questions from the audience. There are cards and pens over there, and just wave to one of our volunteers and they will come collect it for you. Audience member, we will consolidate questions on the same subject and ask as many as time allows, but please understand that we will not be able to ask every question. In the end, each candidate will have 3 minutes for closing statements. Out of respect for the candidates and others, let's agree that all audience members will be polite, attentive, and as quiet as possible. No cheering or booing, please. And please, if you haven't already, silence your cell phones. And we are going to start in alphabetical order with opening statements. Candidate Juanet.
Yeah, you got it.
Giving his opening statement first, and then we'll alternate who speaks first during the questioning portion.
Thank you, Gina. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Juanet, candidate for District 1 here in San Ramon. I'd like to thank the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce, the Embarcadero Media, as well as my family for being here, and all the voters out here in the audience as well. On behalf of Vasanth, I could speak for him as well. I'd like to thank Scott Perkins for his wonderful tenure on the City Council. Great institution, great city leadership, and also a wonderful big thank you to our Mayor Hudson, outgoing mayor. Thank you. And about me, I moved to San Ramon in 2016. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 13 years old. I'm an attorney. I'm a business owner as well. And I moved out here to San Ramon because I was drawn to it. I was drawn to the availability. I was drawn to the affordability of San Ramon. Its parks, its schools, and its beautiful area, kind of bucolic hills around San Ramon, very nice. And for my business, when I started off, it was a challenge finding a place to live. And when I came into San Ramon, I started off immediately with volunteering with EDAC and Economic Development Advisory Council. And that was a really great starting point for me to jump into San Ramon and being part of the city and meeting great people such as yourselves. I currently have Policy-wise, I am really focused on safety, economic development, and focusing on raising affordable housing here in San Ramon. Thank you.
And candidate Sethi?
Thank you. Thank you to the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce and Embarcadero Media Foundation for organizing this important event. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm truly honored to stand before you. My name is Vasant Shetty, and I have proudly called San Ramon as my home for over a decade. My wife is a dedicated teacher. Together, we raised 2 daughters here who graduated from San Ramon schools. Professionally, I bring extensive experience in finance, technology, and operations with a proven track record of driving efficiency and delivering results. I worked in several Fortune 50 companies. I have served on San Ramon Economic Development Committee for several years. Additionally, I have participated in City's Government 101, Planning Academy, and Police Academy, which have given me valuable insight into the inner working of our city and the decision-making process. Over many years, I have seen firsthand how our community has grown and thrived. As a homeowner and taxpayer, I truly understand the joy and challenges of living in this beautiful community. I have knocked on hundreds of homes and spoken with many of the residents across District 1. And I deeply understand your concern, priorities, and your vision for San Ramon. My vision for San Ramon is clear: to keep our city safe, sustainable, and inclusive. I am committed to promoting public safety, protecting our open spaces, and supporting the success of small business. I believe in transparency, maintaining an open door policy, and providing forward-thinking leadership that addresses the need of every resident. I'm excited about today's discussion and look forward to sharing my vision with you. Thank you.
Thank you. First question, we will start with Vasant Shetty. District 1 is guaranteed to have a new voice, someone with no prior elected office experience, at a time when 2 of the city council's most seasoned members are stepping down. I mean, Scott Perkins, whom one of you will replace, has been on the council since I was in high school. Outgoing Mayor Dave Hudson has been in public office in San Ramon since I was in elementary school. Almost 50 years between them. Experience matters, and fresh perspectives are good. Both things can be true. What do you say to voters in District 1 who are concerned about your lack of elected experience and whether the council will take a step backward with the turnover you represent? How will your new voice, your new ideas help the city government thrive?
Thank you for this question, very important. So collectively, we lost 50 years of experience, but there's always a first time for the beginners, isn't it? So my district, District 1, has a lot of small and big business. Obviously, like San Ramon has 60 parks. My district has many of them. So as I introduced in my opening statement, I started this journey quite some year back. I started with attending Government 101 course, Planning Academy, and Police Academy. That gave me immense knowledge of how cities' day-to-day operation work, because the real speakers come, including city managers, everyone, council member. So I got keen interest in that. And inspired by that, I joined the Economic Development Council. So that provided me further experience to talk to different leaders and how city function, and I got keen interest in the economic development area. So the strength I bring on table that I have deep finance experience, technology, and operation, and I have proven track record. Now I understand my experience is in corporate, but there are a lot of similarities. I understand government functioning is a little bit different, but I am in touch, and I know even before running for the race, all the council members, I regularly talk to them out of my interest. I coordinate with even the city managers and also the planning commissioner. And the good thing is that their doors are always open. I just meet them out of my interest. So I believe my good collaboration skill, fast learning experience will help to replace the existing Scott Perkins, the deep experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Jouinet.
Thank you. There's no doubt we're losing two heavy hitters here in San Ramon. But the thing to remember is that these folks built a great institution that made San Ramon a leading city it is today. Not just by themselves, but the team that they've worked with. And it's teamwork and enabling with teamwork that really will help excel this position. Correct, I have not sat in a political chair. My background, however, as an attorney in law school was in constitutional law and local government law. And it is there that I developed a passion for this office. It is there that I spent years working as a clerk for the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, working as a clerk for the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, working on various campaigns for mayors of San Francisco, including Councilmember Scott Perkins here in San Ramon when he was running. So I do understand what is incumbent upon us. I do understand that there are folks who would rather see somebody elected with a background experience. However, the challenges we face today, the budget deficit we face today, the questions regarding affordable housing, et cetera, does require folks with an agile mindset to be able to change it and to adapt. And it's with this new, fresh start that we hope to continue on the great work that our city council and leadership have done and to maintain continuity within the city of San Ramon. Thank you.
Thank you. And right back to you, Robert Jouinet. And let's move on to Measure N. In many ways, the big ticket item on San Ramon ballots. Do you support or oppose the 1% sales tax increase? And what do you think will realistically happen for the city's budget and service levels if Measure N passes? And on the flip side, what happens if it fails?
Is that for me? I apologize.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
We're going to go back and forth
Yes,
with who
thank
starts
you.
first.
I apologize. Let's take a step back to find out why we're here, why we're at this moment. It's not because of bad planning. It's not because of bad budgeting. Much like every city in America, we faced an act of God. We faced a pandemic. And the pandemic really hit us hard. It hit us hard economically. It hit us hard emotionally. It hit financially, personally. There's no escaping it. That's not something that we planned for. And now we have to come out, dig ourselves up, and dig ourselves out of this mess. So how do we do it? We could conceivably say, well, we're going to cut this and cut that, cut services. For me, cutting services, police services, fire services, is non-negotiable. Measure N has to pass. We need that 1% sales tax. And let's break down that sales tax, what that really means. 3% of the sales tax goes to the city of San Ramon. The rest goes to the state, and the remainder goes to whatever. That 1% increase goes right into the pockets of San Ramon, right into our city. We are less currently than our neighbors in Danville and Walnut Creek. Yet folks will continue to shop in these areas and continue to pay that higher tax. It is imperative that we look at other ways as well. One proposition that I am keen on is increasing our city reserve so that we don't fall into this situation again. But hopefully this bridge that we're crossing, $17 million deficit, will close very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Vasant Shetty.
Thank you. So how did we got here? So we have now $19 million deficit. It started with 17 million, and by the time actual budget adopted by city, it is $19 million. And what we did do, we cut services worth 8 million, including closing of library on Mondays. It impacted police service, freeze the open positions, and many other things. Because at the end of the day, we have to adjust city has to adjust the balance sheet. It cannot have the deficit. Now, if Measure N doesn't pass, what we are going to do? I believe we have a couple of choices there. One is we'll keep on cutting more services, which may definitely not be healthy in the long run. Other one is we might have to go to market and borrow money. And that is, again, not good because you will end up servicing that debt year after year. So with this increase of 1%, which will directly come to San Ramon, we'll get around $16 million per year. So that will help us to restore the cut services and help us to continue with our programs. Now, therefore, I support Measure N. Now, having said that, our problem don't stop here. Right now, it's 16 million. It will take care of the current requirement. If you take that 30% or 25% out for the reserve, in another 1 year or so, we'll have more deficit. What we are going to do at that time? So we got to figure it out, not only to pass the Measure N, but increase our revenue source. And how we can increase? By investing in small and medium business and attracting employees. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to go right back to candidate Shetty. Shifting to the most significant project in San Ramon right now and maybe into the next decade and beyond, the transformation of Bishop Ranch. What is your view about the redevelopment of Bishop Ranch from primarily office buildings into a residential, commercial, corporate, and community gathering hub? And in your estimation, how well is the city government handling the public review process for the individual projects, as well as the oversight of the collective City Walk Master Plan implementation?
Thank you. So now, when I knocked the door, many of the residents were saying, San Ramon is growing very fast, which is true. There are a lot of construction is happening. But why we need to do this? Because the state of California mandates us to build the houses. Every 8-year cycle, it gives us the quota that city has to accommodate to build the number of houses. So in this current 8 years of cycle, which is ending in 2031, we have around 6,000 houses we need to build. So now, this one, by doing this City Walk project, we will be building 4,500 houses, small, big, and it's a mixed living community, which means we'll have our shops, we'll have our offices, we'll have a walking facility, we'll have a lake, parks, etc. under one. So I believe city has done a decent job in inviting public opinion. I myself personally participated with many of those review processes, which was open to public, and including Bishop Ranch team did the good job of education. And now the question also comes, why we are focusing the big development at one place by replacing office building? The idea is if we focus on city core, the impact on the existing infrastructure, including traffic, it will be a minimal. So analysis has been done. So I believe this is the right thing to do, having a mixed house living where we can attract the young families. We will have 15% affordable home, around 700 units. That will help us for the affordable housing as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jeanette.
The redevelopment of Bishop Ranch is a sign of our current times. We find ourselves in an era where many folks are working from home, remotely. Folks are not returning to the office to the typical 9 to 5. So what do you do with these empty spaces? Rather than leaving them barren and empty, you redevelop them. And we're fortunate that we actually have this land to redevelop, because it's not being made anymore. So we need this land to have affordable housing, to be able to have shops and stores, to employ folks, for our first responders, for our workers that are necessary for us, our teachers as well. These are all very important for us to continue on in San Ramon, for our city to continue and to thrive. I have not, in my walk and discussing with constituents, I have not heard a complaint about Bishop Ranch in the sense that they have not been open. Bishop Ranch and the City of San Ramon on the website has been very open, very vocal about it, and what's required. So there's no subterfuge there. I will say that, of course, with change, there is fear. There is concern of safety. There is concern that, well, if we build this, we're going to lose our sense of community. It's going to become crowded, et cetera. The state has mandated us to build more housing, and this is something that the city will follow. And if we don't follow it, then we will lose out on state funding. And we also lose out on potential opportunity for attracting brilliant talent here into San Ramon. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to go right back to candidate Jeanette. On other housing projects in San Ramon, what are your goals related to new housing in your district? What will you do when your vision or that of your district constituents conflicts with city priorities, your peers on the council, or mandates from Sacramento or the courts?
So there's two types of housing. When we say affordability, there's dedicated housing and market availability housing. Dedicated housing is subsidized by the government. Market housing is dictated by the market, by the free market, which has no government strings attached to it. In order for us to meet requirements for dedicated housing, for affordable housing, we need to structure our permitting process to become more streamlined, reduce the cost, reduce the risk for our developers to be able to build these housing. If we're able to do that, we're able to cut the costs for folks that will come in and purchase these homes. On the flip side, with regards to the townhomes being built, it is much easier for us to sell these townhomes than it is to wait for an apartment complex to come up. And so I've been to several city council meetings with regards to affordable housing and what should we build and where should we build it, et cetera. The idea of mixed use is very attractive because not only will you increase jobs within the area, sales tax will increase as well. We'll have high visibility here in San Ramon, but also more importantly, we'll be able to close that budget deficit with more housing, more shops, increased opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Chetty?
Can I request you to repeat the question?
Okay. On the other housing projects in San Ramon, what are your goals related to new housing in your district? What will you do when your vision or that of your district constituents conflicts with city priorities, your peers on the council, or mandates from Sacramento or the courts?
Sure. So, fortunately or unfortunately, most of the developments are coming in my district, District 1. So I believe we have limited choice here because, as I mentioned earlier, the state mandates us to build the houses. Now we need to, when we take that, we have two choices, either to do nothing and lose the state funding, and the state will force builders can build anywhere within the San Ramon. So we don't want that. So the situation comes, as a city, what can we do? Can we do the smart planning? And we can work with the builder to put our vision along with their development, meaning mixed house development or mixed house living. So San Ramon is pretty big because if you see the Doughty Valley and other area, for them to come to freeway, it takes like in the peak hours more than 20-25 minutes. But by having this development in the core area, which is District 1, which is closer to freeway, it will help to have a limited impact on our infrastructure. Obviously, impact is going to happen. It will have a limited impact. Obviously, new development brings in the new families, young crowd, and that also will help us creating the jobs here and increasing the revenue. But unfortunately, sometimes the district member don't like the decision. So my goal would be to educate my district members why it is necessary and the rationale behind doing it. Because if code dictates us, at the end of the day, nobody will win. Whereas if we work together, we'll have a better planning and find the alternative solution. Thank you.
Thank you. We had some people in the room tonight hoping that marketplace might come up in your response there about housing in general. So let's ask about it specifically right now. What is your take on what's happening at marketplace these days and what's been proposed so far? And what do you think about what might happen with other parts of marketplace identified as housing opportunity sites?
This question is for me, right?
I'm sorry, yes. Start with you.
So now, what happened at marketplace is a little bit sad for me, especially because closing of that grocery store. I know it has been there for a long time, and many people had an emotional attachment to it, including me and my wife. We used to walk to that grocery store. Now, it is my understanding with this marketplace development, on the one side of the marketplace, around 46 townhouses are coming up. The whole marketplace is not closing. That means Trader Joe's and other shops will remain, Starbucks will remain. Now, having said that, is that a smart decision? I was not deeply involved in it, but again, if I was a council member, I would have explored some other alternative option before boiling down to it, try to work with the builder. And we need to be careful how we can avoid this, because I know housing is required, but development, where to do, and to work with builder, we need to collaborate, citizens, developer, and the city council, because otherwise we'll have a unsatisfied customer because they may not know all the rationale behind the decision making. But good news is that half of the shopping complex still is going to be a walkable, live-in, and walkable to the shopping complex, which I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Jouanet.
Would you mind repeating that question?
Sure. We had some people here interested specifically in Marketplace. What is your take on what's been happening at Marketplace these days and what's been proposed so far? And what do you think about what might happen with other parts of Marketplace identified as housing opportunity sites?
Thank you. I think what happened at Marketplace is a sign of our economic times. I think there's good and there's bad. I think it's good in the sense that it's a practice of our free economy, in the sense that a developer can come and build townhomes, we can address our housing issues. However, does this really make a dent in our, there's been some arguments around this will help us with our taxes, with revenue streams, et cetera. Not really. Not really. This will probably be seen as more of a blight on San Ramon than as a projected win for the city of San Ramon. But let's look ahead. It's happened, so we have to continue on with what do we do next? Well, we have to ensure that the infrastructure around Marketplace continues to be viable. We have to ensure the safety of the people that are going to live in that area, the safety of the shoppers, safety of the employees as well, and maintain its charm. As Mr. Shetty said, you would shop with your wife, so it's not something we could go turn back the dial and say we wish we didn't do it, but it's critical that we educate our voters, educate the citizens of San Ramon as to why there are these requirements and why it's being mandated. And while I've shopped at Nob Hill, and I am sad to see it go and sad to see the workers go, et cetera, it's time for us to turn a new page and look ahead and see if we could find the positive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, back to Robert Jouinette. And we'll stick with the business theme. What ideas do you have to promote economic development in San Ramon, both citywide and in District 1 specifically? Please approach the question as it applies to small and medium-sized local businesses, as well as the large companies and retailers with a strong presence here.
Thank you. I'm a business owner. I've been a business owner. And I understand what it takes to operate a business. I also understand the failure rate of businesses in the first year. It's hard. It's hard when good folks, decent folks, spend their life savings or they take out a mortgage on their home. And it's frightening. It's a scary thing. It's scary when you have to go at it alone. I've been fortunate in opening up my business with members of the community, through our Chamber of Commerce, through other like-minded individuals that have helped me succeed and establish my business for the last 3 years. And one idea for small businesses is, and you see this across America and other towns, where you have a community of folks that come together and share one another, share resources, be able to understand, hey, what worked for you? How did you get your customers? Where do you get your supplies, et cetera? And if we create an environment where people can work together as a team, then there's no reason why small businesses can't thrive. Now, large businesses, I've worked in corporations for over a decade as well. A lot of the talent in Silicon Valley and in the Bay Area and San Francisco lives here in San Ramon. We're very fortunate that we have a good cast of folks that live here. With regards to the office space, I've had conversations with Alex Mahran Jr. about Bishop Branch, et cetera, opening up to businesses, corporations in the Valley to come and open up satellite offices. This is becoming a new theme now, where companies are opening up satellite offices to be closer to talent here in San Ramon. And one way we could do that is ensure that the permitting process is more streamlined, ensure that businesses can come and operate freely here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Vasant Shetty.
Yes. So, as per statistics provided by U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 20% of the small businesses, they close down within the first year. It's a national data. And close to 50% close within the 5 year. Now, the story is not different in San Ramon. The fact is that after the COVID, we never bounced back, came to the normal level. You can see so many office spaces empty and retail spaces are empty. Now, what we are going to do about it? So, especially small and medium businesses, owners, they don't have a cushion to bounce back. if they don't do good in the first year. So what city can do? My thought is we need to provide good incentive for this small and medium business to open the business here, because every time they open the business, not only it adds revenue, it adds like 5 to 10 jobs. And then chances are that people will live nearby. The problem is with these small business owners, they don't have their big resource like a big corporates. So accounting services, legal services, or payroll, recruiting services. So my thought is, can we partner with Chamber of Commerce to provide these services to these people at the competitive rate? Now, as far as retail and the big business concerned, I want to form a specific team so that we can influence these big companies to open the back office operation. They cannot move their headquarters here, but especially these IT companies, mid-sized companies, it's easy to open. This beautiful building here, right here, we have SAP. Why can't more companies can come? I want to make sure I use my every power to get them to the town.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, we are going to go right back to you, though. Traffic congestion and safety continue to be front of mind for many residents. And then there are concerns about pavement quality and bike lanes in various parts of town. What are your top goals for street maintenance and road safety in San Ramon? How will you work to help residents and businesses address street concerns in their neighborhood, minor, moderate, or major?
Cool. Thank you. This is one of the very important questions. I got this from neighborhood when I was knocking the door. So right now, the San Ramon roads, for most part, is better. In the index-wise, we are at the 75% out of the total 100%. But with these budget cuts, and if Measure N don't pass, I don't know, the story may be a little bit different. Now, San Ramon is growing, and when the city is growing, the crime or the public safety also becomes issue. So public safety is my top priority. We want to ensure that our police is fully funded so that public feels safe to walk around in the middle of the night too. I have seen in my neighborhood, at the midnight also people walk with their dogs, which is nice to see. Now, coming to the bike lane. San Ramon has a detailed plan, bike lane and walking lanes. Now, some of the areas, bike lane, it's a little scary to drive, especially when the cars are coming at 50 miles per an hour, very small bike lane. So we have to invest a little bit resources there and make sure our every road is a bike friendly, meaning people should be able to get from place A to place B within San Ramon without driving their car. So that we can do in multiple ways by widening a little bit bike lane wherever possible, painting it with the green color in some cities are there, and then in some cities they have put the pole. I don't know whether that's the right approach. Similarly, maintenance-wise, we have to make sure our roads are maintained regularly, because otherwise what happens is if you postpone it, the maintenance becomes 3 times more costlier. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Jeanette?
Thank you. It's a great question. Let's break down our road hierarchy for a moment. So there are freeways, arterials, then we have our feeder lanes, and then we have our local roadways. I've been through a lot of towns in California, and I could honestly say that the city of San Ramon, I want to say higher than 75%, probably has one of the better roadways. A lot of arterial roadways, Crow Canyon, San Ramon Valley Boulevard, et cetera, majority of them are pothole free and nice. And because of that, it's because of our finance operations and how we maintain these roadways. And it is true, if we start cutting down cutting costs, et cetera, our infrastructure will fail. And it will cost more money to bring back this infrastructure. One idea that few local cities in America have proposed is putting up traffic cameras, red light cameras. A lot of cities have been implementing this on major thoroughways, thoroughfares, et cetera, major intersections. One, that could certainly help us reduce our deficit, increase our revenue stream, put that money toward maintenance of the roadway, put that money toward public safety as well. So this is a critical step for us here as a city. As we continue to grow, there's going to be more use of the roadways, more first responders on the roadways, because unfortunately people will have accidents. The more people we have on the road, it's statistically possible that there's going to be an incident where we're going to have an officer or a first responder using our roadways. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going right back to you. What will you do as a council member to make our city government more accessible and resident-friendly in general? What would you like to see done for seniors, people with disabilities, and youth in San Ramon?
I'm going to tackle the youth question first. When I was in high school, we had an opportunity to attend civics courses, which is something that, unfortunately, is not as available. And in those civics courses, I grew up in Castro Valley, so it wasn't incorporated. We had to go to the next town over, which was Hayward. And so we were fortunate enough to go to Hayward City Hall and attend city council meetings and really get an understanding of government. And this is where the youth was able to get more of a clearer picture of what's going on in local government. When Mr. Shetty and I were at CCTV on Monday, we did the interview there. I had the privilege of talking to the director there, and what they would like to work on with San Ramon is actually opening up a lot of the council meetings to public broadcast to enable, especially our youth in classrooms, to watch government in action, government in progress. For the senior citizens, for the folks that could attend, we have a wide array of mediums now that we didn't have before. YouTube, mobile apps, et cetera, that folks can stream or even go online. In fact, how they submitted these questions for the debate, et cetera, I'm sure they got the information, the questions from material they read from City Hall on what's important to them. So these are opportunities for us as a city to continue on with the technological trend. I love what San Ramon's doing from a technology perspective. I think we should continue to grow, and I think we need folks that are coming on board on the city council that really have a technological background, understand technology, understand how beneficial it can be for the voters and citizens, especially our youth, to get them more into government, into politics. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Okay.
Can I request to repeat the question?
Okay. What will you do as a council member to make our city government more accessible and resident-friendly in general? What would you like to see done for seniors, people with disabilities, and youth in San Ramon?
Thank you. So, as city council has a responsibility to take care of all the age group, whether it's a youth or senior citizens. We have people in my own neighborhood, many retired people are there. We want to make sure that all the parks and other facilities are accessible to them as well. Meaning, whenever I go to the parks, I like to go to different parks, I see a lot of options available for the youths, but at the same time, for the seniors in the parks, limited options are there. So one of my thought is, can we also have equal activities in the parks for the seniors too? So that's the one thing. Second thing is, at the people become seniors, we have to make sure we take care of them as well. we need to build the affordable housing for them. Recently, our city did a great job by partnering with one of the non-profit organizations and build a house called Vista Point or something like that at Al Costa for 111 units. And city provided some grant. So this is perfect way of private-public partnership. Now coming to the youths, it's always wonderful to see youths in action. We want to make sure youths are involved in all parts of city, in not only playing in the park, but in the city, participating in city, and we have to generate an interest to them. So as a city council member, I'll make sure that I will be in regular contact with the school district and the schools, so to impress upon youth, and then not only guide them in the civic management and the career path, so that when they come out of the college, they can set up their startups right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. We will start with you, Vasant Shetty. Cross-governmental relationships are vital and always need to be nurtured for the betterment of the whole community. In San Ramon, we have the school district, the fire district, the water districts, the sewer districts, as well as private service entities like PG&E, the garbage company, and internet providers. What is the most important other local agency for the city government to work with, in your estimation? And what steps will you take to better promote collaboration and better solutions for residents with this agency?
Thank you. So absolutely, the cross relationship with these multiple agencies who are required to maintain our quality of life is very important, right? From sewage, water, school, and including our garbage collection, etc. So out of everything, the school is close to my heart because my two daughters graduated from San Ramon schools. I will make sure, and now city has a very good relationship, working relationship, and works closely with them. But personally, I will take a keen interest in understand the complexities or the relation building with all these agencies, be it a school or sewage or water. We have to make sure that our residents get the quality service, either clean water and also the sewage and the good quality schools. I already contacted a couple of water district board members and also a couple of school district board members, because to understand how they function, what goes behind the scene. Because at the end of the day, unless city is closely working with them, city can plan in one way and they can deliver in different way. That's not going to work out for our citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Jouinet.
Please amplify the question if you could repeat it.
Yeah, I'll just give you the question part unless you want me to hint at all the agencies I named.
Yeah.
What is the most important other local agency for the city government to work with, in your estimation? And what steps will you take to promote better collaboration and solutions for residents with this agency?
There's a term that's used in the animal kingdom called symbiosis, symbiotic. It's also used in government and business. And what it really means is the play between two things. San Ramon wouldn't be where it is today if it didn't know how to reach across the aisle to other agencies and work together. That's a fact. I've seen other cities in this country where the police fight with one agency, the parks fight with another agency, etc. I think what makes it special here in San Ramon is that all agencies all want the same thing at the end of the day. And how we achieve it is through better communication, openness, responsiveness. I don't think there's one particular agency I would call out, and I don't think it would be fair to just limit it to just one agency. I think we need to continue to be open with other agencies. We need to continue to collaborate. We also need the biggest agency of all is the citizens. They need to be a bit more vocal and apply their voice to some of these agencies, to street maintenance, to construction, to permitting, et cetera. Because in most cases, if they don't get reported, we'll never know. We'll never have the data that we need to build off of. Thank you.
Thank you. And we've come to our final question this evening, starting with Robert Jouinet. What do you think is another key issue in your district specifically that we haven't talked about here tonight? And how will you work to solve it?
Where do I start? There's always the issue of housing. Housing and economic development. So I'll touch on economic development because District 1 seems to has the industrial area of San Ramon on the border of Danville, also has the shopping centers, Crow Canyon Commons, et cetera, and Bishop Branch, obviously, the lot. The biggest challenge is filling these stores, filling these empty, vacant lots. I know in Bishop Branch, it's, I believe, 95% leased, but 85% occupied at the moment. But enabling the city to loosen up on the permitting requirements. And I want to be clear when I mean loosen up. I don't mean cut out safety requirements to loosen up, no, but streamline it so that we can get small businesses in here right away, so that the businesses don't go to, my neighbor, for instance, doesn't go open up a restaurant in Hayward, as he's done. Why not open up one here in San Ramon, just down the block? It's hard. It's difficult to do so. That'd be one challenge I'd fix, I'd focus on, because when you start focusing on the jobs and when you start focusing, on the economy, the jobs will come. When the jobs will come, then benefits for our employees will start to come, and so on and so forth. And that will enable us to increase revenue for the city, because that's the purpose of the city. The city is a for-profit agency, and it has to run that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Vasant Shetty.
Yes. So my focus would be based on the feedback I got it from residents when I was knocking the door. Many of them mentioned that, and there are a lot of constructions are happening in District 1, which is true. But there's as I mentioned earlier, there's a reason behind it, right? Because the state mandates we have to do it. Now, how we can address this? I believe if we work creatively on this problem, we can have a win-win situation in multiple areas. Number one, we are taking care of the state requirement. Number two, most of the development that is happening is a mixed living development, which I really favor, because not only the young people who are starting the house, teachers, or first responders, they can afford the small houses, small and big houses when the builder's building, that's available, the first-time home buyers. And because there will be a lot of shops and office building, so what will happen is the new business will start, which will automatically entertain the small and medium business. And also, with the office space right there, we can invite the small entrepreneurs and also some of the medium-sized or big corporates. So that will create more jobs right there also. Third one, when we have this core area development, traffic congestion will be minimum, and also managing crime, etc., it becomes a little bit manageable. So I would focus on the construction, the growth area. Thank you.
We will now move on to closing statements. Each candidate will have up to 3 minutes to provide final comments. Going in reverse alphabetical order this time, we will start with Vasant Shetty.
Thank you. Thank you once again for organizing this insightful discussion. To my fellow San Ramon residents, our city stands at the crossroad today. The decision we make today will not only impact our immediate future, but will also shape the lives of the generation to come. When it comes to managing our city, you deserve a leader who is empathetic, experienced, quick learner, and effective problem solver. I believe I embody these qualities, and I am ready to serve you with integrity, vision, and commitment. I have listened to your concern, and we all share the same values. We want a safe community, preserve green spaces, controlled and sustainable growth that maintains the charm and suburban character of San Ramon. We need thriving parks, golf courses, good schools, strong support for small and medium-sized businesses, and innovative use of technology to make our city operation more efficient. We also need affordable housing for young families, first responders, teachers, nurses, and downsizing option for our seniors, ensuring that San Ramon remains a place where people of all ages thrive. We face a real challenge today. We have budget deficit, service cuts, rapid growth, traffic congestion, and small and large businesses closing or moving out of our city. This problem won't be solved by themselves. Our city council needs to roll up its sleeves and act now. We must ensure a balanced budget, fully funded police force, invest in vital infrastructure, maintain our high quality of life, protect our natural resources, and address climate changes as well. Solving these issues require a fresh perspective, creative solutions, and experienced leader, qualities that I am ready to bring to the table. As your city council member, I am committed to listening to your needs, working with you. I will put you first in every decision I make. You are my primary stakeholders, and I will ensure that your voices are heard and that every major decision reflects our collective vision for San Ramon. Together, we can bring a new energy and ideas to our city, ensuring San Ramon remains best place to live, work, and raise family. It would be my honor to earn your vote, and it will be my privilege to serve you. I'm also hoping that you will visit my campaign website and continue to provide me with your feedback and suggestion. And my website is www.shettyforsanramon.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Jouinet.
Thank you. Thank you to the audience members for being here. Really appreciate your time. I was born in San Francisco, and I was raised in the East Bay. I was raised in Castro Valley, went to schools out here, I worked out here, raised my family out here. And the one constant I could see among all of us here in San Ramon is that we all want the same things. We all want better quality of life. We all want to maintain our health, maintain our high quality standards, et cetera. And that could only happen with a leader who understands how to work as a team. The city council seat isn't just one person. It makes up other councils, other districts as well. So this isn't just solely about District 1. Decisions that are being made, problems that need to be solved across the borders in other districts as well. I, as an attorney, I solve problems for people frequently. Critical thinking is something that is mandated. High ethical standards is mandated as well. These are facets and tenets that I've lived by my professional career, whether in private corporation or as an attorney. The key factor that's driving me here today is not, it's not for the money, right? I love it when I could see people smile and happy. I love it when there's success. Because when people are successful, you feel successful. And there isn't a challenge we can't overcome. The biggest challenge is, how do we break the barrier? How do we communicate better with each other? How can we look in each other's eyes as neighbors and not split the difference, excuse me. Negotiations is also a key factor. as I said before, the city needs to make money. That's it. That's the bottom line. The city needs to make money and take care of its residents. The city's not a charitable organization. So we have to treat the city and treat the revenue stream of the city as we would a company. However, the lifeblood of the city are the voters, or the citizens that make it happen. And we need to treat everyone with respect, treat our neighbors with respect, and maintain that quality of life. And that's what I'm committed to do. You can visit my website at www.robert4citycouncil.com, or feel free to email me at robert@robert4citycouncil.com. And I look forward to seeing everybody vote. And please go out there November 5th and vote. Thank you.
On behalf of DanvilleSanRamon.com, I would like to thank all of the candidates for participating tonight, the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce and Heidi Kennison Lee in particular, along with AAUW, Bishop Ranch for this great venue, and VIP AV for audiovisual services. A recording of this forum will be available soon through DanvilleSanRamon.com and our YouTube channel. To learn more about supporting our Embarcadero Media Foundation, which is now an independent journalism nonprofit organization, go to embarcaderomedia.org or visit our table in the lobby. This is a crucial time for the future of DanvilleSanRamon.com. Whether you rely on our forums and articles during the election season to help cast your votes, or just enjoy reading our San Ramon Valley coverage throughout the year, now is the time to consider becoming a Support Local Journalism member or signing up for our daily Express e-newsletter. Your participation matters. We are so proud to be your local source for news across the Valley, and we look forward to our 7th and final Tri-Valley election forum of the season this Sunday, October 6th, for the Danville Town Council. Have a great evening.